What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, the author, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Sunday. I am so glad that you are here with me as I do my weekly review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 11, episode 12, and it was called Oops, I Spun It Again. Now, before I get started, I just want to say thank you guys for your consistency in watching my Love and Marriage Huntsville videos. I really appreciate it. So again, thank you. I just wanted to say that happy Sunday to you. I hope your day is going great. This season is actually going a little longer than usual. I actually thought it would be over. I think I said it may be like around episode 8. I said that I thought that the season would be over, probably like around 10. But we're on episode 12 and it's still going strong. So hey, I'm going to give you the best that I got. I'm going to give you what I have. I have a lot of notes here. So guys, please bear with me this particular time because I'm going to have to refer back to my notes only because there was a whole lot of dialogue in their scenes, and I want to make sure that I give you everything that was said. Again, please also forgive me. I hope I don't go into a sneezing fit. I don't know about you guys, but I have really bad allergies, and I was just out and about, and oh my goodness, like we don't even need to talk about it. But if you have allergies, I feel your pain because right now, especially with it warming up, it's just not good. So let's get into it, guys. I just wanted to just like kind of say that before I actually got started or I started sneezing. So let's get started. So the convo, the actual opening scene was with Destiny and Nell. It was a continuation from last week. Y'all, you already know what happened. If you didn't see it last week, or if you have seen it, then you would know by now. You probably have seen clips even if you haven't watched it. But Destiny and Nell had a meetup after the family meeting at Nell's house. Destiny said she felt very uncomfortable with how she was approached about the whole Twan bit, and so she just continued that conversation. Destiny went out, but she actually came back, and they continued their conversation. Nell said she wanted to, if Destiny was hurt, she wanted to apologize to her because she did not mean it that way. Destiny said she was hurt, and she said her and Nell have always talk, and she said although they don't talk often, but they have serious conversations, and she wants it to remain that way. So I think Destiny probably looks at Nell as kind of like a mother figure, or maybe just like an older sister or something like that. Destiny really does, I think she really does respect Nell in many ways. So I can see why Destiny was a little hurt as to why Nell responded that way. Nell said that she was uncomfortable. When Destiny said that she was uncomfortable being there, Nell actually said that she was also uncomfortable. But I'm trying to figure out why Nell would be uncomfortable when she was the one that actually had the family dinner, and she was the one that actually invited everyone over and sort of set everything up. So that was a little troubling to me why Nell said that, but we know that Nell will never be 100% wrong in anything that she does. So I think that she just kind of said that, but there was no reason for Nell to be uncomfortable in her home. And if she was, to me, in my opinion, it's because Nell didn't like what was being said. The truth was being revealed, and Nell did not actually like that in any kind of way, shape, or form. So they continued to talk. Destiny said that basically what started out as a rumor per se was really not a rumor. She said when she had the conversation with Twan said that it was actually a rumor, but it actually wasn't. And so Nell said they're grown, it will be what it will be. And Destiny said she never really understood why she was even invited in the first place. Nell said, because you're like family. And that was it. And I think that made Destiny feel good or feel comfortable in some sort of way. But that was the end of their conversation. Destiny did say she does not want Kayla to feel any type of way because she actually adores Kayla. And she made it very clear, as she did last week, she has nothing going on with Twan. Her and Twan may have had a physical attraction, but the buck stops there. Nothing happened between them. They went out on 1 or 2 dates. I think they went out on a date. They sort of shut the restaurant down, spent hours together talking, but again, they were in a public space. She said nothing happened, nothing physical happened between them. And then they had the brunch where Twan revealed that there was a rumor about him and Kayla. That is pretty much the gist of their relationship. So therefore, we can sort of close that book and put a stamp on it and say that nothing happened between Destiny and Twan, and leave it there. Twan and Kayla are together, and I think Nell and Chris are just going to have to accept it. Even if they don't like it, they're going to have to accept it and move on. So Destiny told Nell, she invited Nell to, she was having like something like a little, just, it wasn't necessarily a charity event, but she was having a little event that was dedicated to like domestic violence. So they were going to come and sort of learn self-defense techniques and stuff like that. And of course, she told Nell, of course, Nell said that she would come, and Destiny said that she would invite all of the ladies, including LATISHA. So then we see MARSAU and LATISHA, they meet up. LATISHA's actually at her office. We know that LATISHA's been trying to get MARSAU to finish her office for quite some time. So when MARSAU arrives, LATISHA's actually doing a little caulking. She wasn't necessarily painting, but she was doing a little caulking. She said that MARSAU's workers are a little slow. So she said she wants to get rolling. She wanted to do it herself because she feels like she's behind in getting in her office. And typically that is what women do. You know, if a woman's husband is a little slow in doing something, a woman will sort of take it upon herself to do it. And that's just with anyone. I think in general, you know, somebody's taking too long sometimes and you kind of can figure out something, or you know how to do it, most of the times you will try to give it a shot and do it yourself. So I didn't think that what LATISHA was doing was bad or disrespectful in any way. She's just tired of waiting, and so she was doing a little work herself. But MARSAU apparently was offended by that. He did not like the fact that she was doing it, and when MARSAU gets offended, we know that he's going to attack her in a way to really hurt her. So let's get into that. You know, because, and MARSAU even said it, you know, it makes it seem like he's not getting the job done. Well, MARSAU, you're actually not getting the job done. We have seen probably at least three seasons. I think Mel was even on there. Melody was still on there when Tisha wanted the office, or they had started working on the office. And now Mel has been gone for quite some time, and he's still working on her office space. So it has been a while. So MARSAU, Scott, you're not getting the job done. But I think I told you in my review maybe a couple of episodes back, I think even when they went to, I think the first time when Maurice and MARSAU talked about Jordan Lane, and Maurice had to approach MARSAU about it. My opinion, guys, I could be wrong, but I just really think that MARSAU is cheap. I really don't think that, I think MARSAU has a huge overhead. I think that he hires people, but it's kind of like they're overworked and underpaid, if you get my drift. Like, I just really think that MARSAU does it. He likes to do things on his own so that he doesn't have to pay a lot of people. And then the people that he probably uses, they can't get to all those projects in like a short amount of time because they're not even really being paid. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong. MARSAU could be an excellent manager or supervisor. He could pay all of his staff well, and I would have to eat my words if that be the case. But I just believe that MARSAU is pretty cheap and does not want to really hire people or pay people to get the job done. So LATISHA was asking him how he enjoyed the trip, and you know, MARSAU said he had never gone to Europe, so this was his first time, and he said he had a good time. And LATISHA said, well, you know, I was trying to plan that actual trip that you took. I was trying to plan that for Christmas. And so MARSAU said, well, you know, I'm detecting a little attitude with you. And LATISHA said, well, I'm actually in a good mood. I don't have an attitude. So MARSAU, basically his only goal in this scene was to get to LATISHA about Destiny. He asked LATISHA straight up, did she get into it with Destiny? LATISHA said that yeah, she did. She said that, and MARSAU said he feels like LATISHA did it on purpose, that she wanted to get into it with Destiny. And I do believe that. I feel like LATISHA set it up for her and Destiny to get together. I mean, to get into it, I'm sorry, while they were together at one of the properties that Destiny was showing at that time, I do believe LATISHA went over there with the intent of getting into it with Destiny. So I agree with MARSAU on that. However, MARSAU takes it a step further in saying that, you know, he said, look, it damages our reputation and our brand. I don't think that it necessarily damages their brand. I mean, people know that they're on a show. They know that they're on a television show, and we know how, we now understand, the viewers know how reality television works. You know, you have to have some sort of drama. So I don't think that it damages their brand, so to speak. If anything, if what's damaging their brand probably is them not finishing projects, or them not sort of coming through and, you know, say for example, if somebody rents out one of their venues and they have a problem there, that can ruin your reputation, so to speak, but not because LATISHA and Destiny got into it. LATISHA said that Destiny went low. She said that, but MARSAU said he doesn't have to. And this is what I didn't like what MARSAU said. I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. MARSAU said that LATISHA doesn't have to defend him against a woman who doesn't have a husband and runs through men like crazy. Now, to me, guys, I've been telling you for probably about a season and a half now that they were going to come after Destiny. This is what happens to the single woman in the group. Destiny is the only single woman in the group. By law, LATRICIA is a single woman, but she does have kin around. Destiny doesn't have a man in her life, or a man that's around, a steady man, so to speak. So they're coming after her character, making it seem like she's, you know, a loose woman. She's out there, you know, she changes men like she changes clothes, which is actually not true. Destiny is really just filming with these guys. Destiny told us clear as day last week, in last week's episode, that none of those men on that show can say that they had her. When we were introduced to Destiny, Destiny was married to LeBaric. They got a divorce, whatever happened with them, and we know that Destiny was with Moses, and we know the situation that happened with him. But again, Moses was not he was not a cast member or a castmate or a friend of anyone on this show. They had a real relationship outside of the show. So for MARSAU to say that he was trying to, that to me is damaging someone's reputation and their brand, not LATISHA and Destiny getting into it and it's messing up the Scott name. No, what you're doing is you are throwing dirt on Destiny to make it seem like she is, you know, a hoe, and Destiny really is not a hoe. And so for him to say that, but I told y'all he was going to do it because number one, he's afraid, he knows that Destiny has her own mind, and he is afraid that Destiny was probably going to link up with Martell in a sense, and Martell was going to tell all of his dirt, and he was concerned about that. So he planted evil seeds in LATISHA's mind about Destiny. So here we are. So LATISHA said that MARSAU said that LATISHA represents both of them. Okay, when you are one and when you are married, you do represent one another, but again, you are not responsible. You're not solely responsible for the actions of your partner. If your partner does something and you are unaware of it and you're not with them, you're not responsible for that. Yes, you are one, and yes, you may even take up for that person or whatever the case may be, but you are not solely responsible for that. So MARSAU again was wrong again, and that is just my opinion. He was wrong about that again. LATISHA said that, you know, she is her own person. She says, you know, I have my own mind. I can feel the way I feel about something, and LATISHA was right about that. LATISHA just wanted a listening ear from MARSAU, but MARSAU tends to talk to her like he's her father. He's always looking to give her advice or to correct LATISHA in a way, and I don't think she's looking for that, and that is why LATISHA is looking for her friends to give her something that her husband doesn't give her. And that's why I said in my other videos that LATISHA's expectations of Destiny are far too high, because she wants Destiny to sort of do the things that MARSAU doesn't do, which is listen to her, which is sort of take up for her her in that way. And that's why LATISHA had such a problem with Destiny feeling, or she felt like Destiny wasn't taking up for her or defending her, because in actuality, MARSAU doesn't do it. And what do? Whenever we carry a burden or someone doesn't do something, we oftentimes pick that burden up and carry it and try to put it in someone else's lap. And that's what LATISHA has done. So MARSAU even went a little further as to say, then, if you are your own person and you feel that way, then you need to give me my name back. In which he was talking about the Scott last name. He said, you're not LaTisha Denise, you're not LaTisha Moore, you're LaTisha Scott. And if you feel like you want to be your own person, then you need to give me my name back. Well, MARSAU is just going way too far. It ain't that deep. It ain't that serious. LATISHA got into it. She did not get arrested. You know, she did not lose her job behind getting into an argument. So MARSAU is really just dragging this out. But we know too, sometimes when people are guilty of doing things themselves, they want to sort of turn it on the other person. MARSAU wants to turn it on LATISHA. He wants to make it seem like it's her fault. He wants to gaslight her and make it seem like she's a bad person. He told her, well, you know, God gave you a smart man and you don't want to listen. So she said, well, I'm a smart girl too, and you need to listen to me. And of course, we know that MARSAU is pretty chauvinistic and he doesn't want to listen to LATISHA. LATISHA can tell him exactly what needs to be done and she can be 100% right, and MARSAU is going to gaslight her and tell her that she's wrong and talk about something that she did wrong and bring up something that she probably did 5-10 years ago just to prove a point so that he doesn't have to say that she's right. That's what I don't like about MARSAU in this relationship, and I know a lot of people don't care for LATISHA, but we have to call a spade, and MARSAU in that sense is in my opinion, a horrible husband to LATISHA, because LATISHA, you could tell she was very upset and she was getting ready to cry, but she said she didn't want to be vulnerable anymore. And LATISHA is so tired of MARSAU doing that to her, and you can just tell that she's tired of it and she does not want to have to deal with that anymore. And that was the end of that particular scene with them. We'll have a little bit more on MARSAU and LATISHA later, but that was the end of that. So Destiny meets up with Ken and LATRICIA, and they also invited Ken's best friend Will. So they arrived, you know, Will came in, he was the last to come in, and so Destiny, LATRICIA, and Ken were already sitting down, and basically, you know, they asked them how they were doing. Ken and LATRICIA said they were doing better. You know, he said LATRICIA, you know, basically she gave him a lot of problems and a lot of trouble, but he said, you know, they are in a better spot. They were in a bad spot, but then they had to learn to compromise and move forward. So Ken told Destiny and Will, you guys look good sitting there together. Are you going to go out on another date? Will and Destiny definitely don't have anything going on. Will said that Destiny is a good friend, and you know, when he needs good company, he doesn't mind going out with her, but Destiny's not putting out, so Will is not going to sort of put up with that. He's not going to just basically cater to her or spoil her or really court her and wine and dine her if she's not putting out. That's what I got from it. And Destiny said that Will is a walking red flag. She said that in her confessional, but she said that Will is fun. She said, but he's very honest, and she said she likes that about him because you don't have to guess with him. It is what it is with him. And so, you know, it is what it is with them. They're just filming. Will wants to be on the show. Destiny was already on the show. They're just bringing Will in, and they're just sort of using Destiny as a way for him to feel, of course he's friends with Ken, but just for them to sort of go out on a double date and to film a different kind of scene. They just threw Will into the mix, and we can tell that Will is probably doing 100 other things and 100 other women, so we'll move on with that. LATRICIA said she started discussing the drag brunch. She said they had a good time, but she said she was more concerned of whether Destiny and LATISHA were going to drag each other. Destiny said that, you know, hey, she said she was tired of LATISHA sort of poking and, you know, sort of basically playing, you know, playing her and sort of saying things about her that she didn't like. She says basically LATISHA is putting things on her name and on her professional career, the labels she just doesn't like. She said calling her a hoe and saying certain things like that. Destiny says she just really cannot get with that, and she doesn't like that. And she said it went left. Oh, she said Destiny said it really only went left because she told LATISHA that she defends her more than MARSAU. And Ken, they were all kind of shocked that she said that. Well, LATRICIA wasn't, because she was there, but Ken was like, oh yeah, well, you know, Ken said basically, you know, he could see why she got upset, because she was basically trying to deflect, and they agreed on that. So then they discussed the conversation about LATRICIA sort of spinning the block, and Will seemed like he was taken aback. He knows what Ken was doing, but he didn't know what LATRICIA was doing. So Ken asked LATRICIA, he was like, you know, he went on, he was like, really? You know, you were seeing someone else? LATRICIA said yes. Ken said at the table that LATRICIA did not actually tell him. LATRICIA said she did mention it. She said she told him, but LATRICIA probably didn't give him all the details. And yeah, LATRICIA wasn't completely honest, and Destiny even said LATRICIA has a way of omitting information, and we know that LATRICIA is probably the worst communicator on this show. She, you know, she was barely even talking and even opening up her mouth when she first joined the cast. She's trying to do a little better now, but LATRICIA just is not a person that says what she means and means what she says. It's kind of like she says it, but then she wants to take it back. You know, she'll say something and then she'll take it back again, or, well, that's not what I meant, or she'll change it up. And that's what kind of person she is. So you really can't even take anything that LATRICIA is saying seriously. I do believe, I'm not saying she's lying or she's a liar in a sense. It's just that LATRICIA's communication style is so horrible that she really just does not know how to articulate her feelings and what's really going on inside. Instead of her saying, yeah, you know, I had conversations with this guy. We went out, you know, it was really nothing to it. It wasn't physical. This is what it was. She just basically said, well, yeah, well, no, it wasn't like that. Yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. So LATRICIA needs to get better with that, and I hope that she does, for the sake of any relationship, whether she's with Ken or whether she's not with Ken, or whether, just like I said, even in just communicating with people in general, she needs to get better about that. So that was pretty much the end of that scene. We see Kimmy and Maurice. They have a conversation. Maurice said he was getting ready to ask Kimmy if she wanted to go out, but she made a snack. So they sat down and started talking. Kimmy asked her, was MARSAU back from Europe? Maurice had a puzzled look on his face, but he said, yeah, he thought that he was back. So she said, Kimmy said that LATISHA said that MARSAU felt some type of way about their argument. Kimmy asked him straight up, asked Maurice, you know, did you say that you would sue MARSAU? Maurice said no, he didn't say that he was going to sue MARSAU, but he did sort of threaten him with paperwork. He said, but this is what you asked me to do. You asked me to motivate MARSAU, and so I basically did that for you. And he said MARSAU does get under his skin. You know, that's his brother, but he gets under his skin. But the main reason was because Kimmy was sort of putting pressure on him. Again, this is Kimmy's fault. Maurice doesn't seem to really care, but because now it's all Kimmy's fault. So Kimmy, from this point on, you really need to talk to MARSAU yourself at this point. You've gone through Maurice. Maurice seems to not really want to do it. He's trying to do it, but it's probably best now that you take over and just speak to MARSAU directly. So Kimmy says she wants to put a dinner or a brunch together to make sure that he and MARSAU are okay, because of course they're brothers, and she does not want them to have any tension or something like that. She said she said, this is what she said. She said she's not sure what was said because she wasn't there. And she says, so she doesn't really know what's happening many times. So she's only reacting to what's been said to her. And then she said, but that's the problem in this group. Things happen, things are said. Most of the time, some people are not even privy to the information. They don't know what's going on. And then they're responding later. So she said, in this group, that happens way too much. She started talking about LATRICIA and Ken. She told, that was just her way of introducing that particular conversation or that topic. She wanted to tell Maurice that Kimmy was seeing, I'm sorry, not Kimmy, but LATRICIA was seeing someone else. Maurice was shocked about it. He probably was mad about it. How dare a woman, you know, go and spend the block or go and see someone else while she's in a relationship with the man. To me, that's the impression he got. He had this, oh my word, he had this look on his face. But in actuality, Maurice, you didn't like it at all, to be honest. You think that Ken is probably a puss for letting LATRICIA do that to him, but you want to always remain like you're good, or you know, you want to always try to say the right thing, so you would never say that. But in actuality, you didn't like it. So you know, that was pretty much it. She says that the group is she wants the whole group to get together before the end of the summer. She said maybe they can do like a quick trip or something kind of local, but not too far. Maurice said, yeah, a lot of the relationships are at stake, so he felt like it would be a good idea. Destiny hosts a self-defense class. Like I said before, they were there just learning some self-defense techniques. All of the ladies actually came. Initially, LATISHA told her, or it was said that LATISHA wasn't coming, but of course LATISHA showed up. She said she had dropped MJ off at school, and so she was able to get back and to make it on time. Now, whether that meant dropping him off to school, to college, I'm not sure, or dropping him off in the sense of taking him to school every day. I would think that it would be college, only because if it's the summertime, the kids are normally out of school for the summer. So, you know, whatever it was, she decided to come. LATISHA said that even though her and Destiny were going through some hard times as friends, she said she wants to be there for her friends, and when it's something big, you show up. So she knew that this was important to Destiny about the whole, you know, just domestic violence and stuff like that. So she showed up. So the ladies were just talking. They were sort of going back and forth. You know, Kimmy was joking like, oh yeah, you would show it when it's time to fight, but they kind of laughed that off. So LATRICIA said she officially left her job. They knew that she was leaving. She had said that she was going to, but she officially left. Kimmy asked Destiny about Will. They kind of talked about them going out on a double date. Destiny said that Will is fun, but she didn't give them anything. She doesn't really trust them anyway. But then again, there's nothing to say. You know, her and Will really don't have anything going on. They started talking about the spin the block thing that was mentioned before. LATRICIA said that she was not intimate with the guy. She said that they were just talking. Well, LATRICIA probably doesn't really understand the meaning of spin the block, because we know when someone says I spun the block, or I'm going to spin the block, that means that you're not just going to get on the block and ride past. That means that you are going to park the car. That means that you're going in the house. That means that you are going to, when you go inside, that you're going to get comfortable, and that means that you are there to stay. So when you say spun the block, Trisha, I think you used the wrong terminology. You know, I think you should have just said that, yeah, you were talking to somebody else and left it there. But this whole spinning the block thing got blown way out of proportion. The girls were laughing, and they were also kind of like disappointed and like looking at LATRICIA like she was actually a fool for even saying something like that. But she said that her and Ken are in a great place. And so Kimmy invited them on a trip. LATISHA said, is it a girls trip? Of course, Kimmy, who's not a girls girl, says no, she doesn't do girls trips. Of course, she's going to invite the men because she's not comfortable any other way. And that was it. So she said they're going to do something fun. And, you know, that was pretty much, the end of their scene. So LATISHA, MARSAU is at Black. LATISHA comes. She sits down. So, you know, he makes her a drink. He asked her if she was finished what she was doing at her office. She said, yeah. MARSAU said going forward. You could tell he's still angry about it. He said going forward, she should ask him one time and not say anything else and leave it there. He said don't harass him basically month after month after month, saying something like every few weeks, every month about the same thing. LATISHA brings up about what happened between MARSAU and Maurice. Well, by this time, Kimmy has come in, and also Maurice is coming. They didn't come in together, but they came in separately, but they are all there by that time. So once MARSAU says, you know, don't bring it up anymore, we don't need to talk about it anymore, then Kimmy and Maurice have arrived. So that's when LATISHA asked them about the conversation at Sky Manor. MARSAU basically said, look, he and Maurice are fine. They're brothers. This is not Maurice is not Martell or Chris Fletcher. This is his brother. So they're cool. Maurice said that, okay, so they mentioned why he came to MARSAU in the first place. Kimmy said, yeah, he did that because of me, and you know, basically going forward, he was doing me a favor, and I probably should have brought my gripes to you. So LATISHA and MARSAU slightly got into it in front of Maurice and Kimmy. I don't think that's anything unusual, but they did. Basically, they were just saying, like, you know, MARSAU tries to tell LATISHA things and she brushes it off. So they were just talking about little things here and there, nothing specifically, but you could just tell that there's tension between them. And so Maurice and MARSAU leave to speak privately, and then LATISHA and Kimmy are still sitting there as they're talking. So they start having dual scenes. You know how they have those dual scenes where they flip back and forth. Well, that's what happened. MARSAU starts complaining about Tisha. He says that LATISHA needs to back off of him. He's about getting stuff done. He said that LATISHA, well, Kimmy, it flipped to Kimmy and LATISHA. Kimmy said, LATISHA, you know, MARSAU loves your bath water. You know, he, you know, basically he loves her, and she doesn't want LATISHA to feel like he doesn't. But LATISHA says at this point in time, she's tired of being nice. She says even about, you know, the stuff that she asked him to do, she says she used to try to be nice and sweet and ask him, you know, how was his day and how was this coming along, and be very polite about it. But she says she's tired of doing that because it's not getting her anywhere. She says you always use a soft tone, but now, you know, she doesn't feel like she's a teammate. MARSAU said that he built the teams and the businesses. LATISHA asked for certain things and he gave her what she wanted, but she's complaining about it. He says every 5 years, LATISHA had a different plan. And he said that, you know, now he's painting the picture that he is the husband of the year, the husband of the decade, the husband of this century. He said basically LATISHA said begged him to come home. She was tired of working. She wanted to come home and be a stay-at-home mom, and she just kind of wanted to go to school. He said he made that happen for her. Well, kudos to that, MARSAU. But even in the process of that, LATISHA also took care of your kids. She made sure that your children were fed, bathed, and safe throughout that entire time, even while she was trying to further her education so that she could do things. 5 years after that, he's saying LATISHA switched up again and wanted to sort of get into real estate. He tried to make that happen. He built the teams. He built all these things that she wanted. And basically he was saying that, you know, basically she's not supporting him. He said when he goes to LATISHA with an idea, she sort of shoots it down and basically says, well, that's stupid, or he shouldn't do that, and he doesn't like that. Then LATISHA and Kimmy, Tisha told Kimmy that MARSAU got on her about Destiny. She said that he talks at her. She said, Tisha said that she's tired of it and she has no one to vent to. And I totally understand that. Again, we don't have to like LATISHA as a person. We don't have to like the things that she's done on this show. But LATISHA is absolutely right. She is her own person. If he's her husband, she should be able to go to him. Well, we know that men oftentimes are a little, they're more solution oriented, I should say. They're not as detailed as women. They don't get involved as emotionally as women do in certain situations. But again, he's known LATISHA long enough. They've been married long enough that he should know how LATISHA is. He know LATISHA is very soft in many ways, and sometimes she does just want to vent or have someone to talk to about the situation. And again, like I said earlier, MARSAU it's like there's a lesson in everything. He has to teach her a lesson, and that comes from just how they were raised, that a woman should always just listen to a man. I have to teach you a lesson. You have to learn from me. I have to teach you something. I have to father you. I have to sort of steer you in the right direction. That's where that's going. And again, a woman will not have a problem listening to a man, especially when he's leading and guiding her right and making her feel safe enough when she comes to him. MARSAU, your wife is not safe with you when she comes to you. Whether you like what she's saying or not, whether you agree with what she's saying or not, she does not feel safe in coming to you. And that is a major problem. Kimmy said that, Maurice is the same way. She said that their questions, they feel like if you question them or if you want to know something from them, she said that they feel or they look at it as, or they perceive it as you not trusting them or you having doubt in them. And I wrote, biggest day. No. It's what we call control. See, they want to control the situation on all ends. They don't want you to have your own mind. They don't want you to ask them anything. They want you to follow everything they do, and everything they say has to be okay. Whatever they say, okay. If they tell you to stand on your head, okay. If they tell you don't go in the street, or like you're a child, don't go outside, okay. Follow me, okay. If they make a bad business decision, they want you to be okay with them and just trust them and not question anything, as if these women are not educated themselves. Kimmy was a nurse when this show first started. LATISHA also was a college graduate. She was also working in maybe like accounting or something with real estate. I'm not 100% sure. But these are educated women. These are women with their own personalities, their own, Kimmy's even older than Maurice. She was born before Maurice. So these are women with their own personalities, their own ideas, their own, vision for their life, for their families, all those things. And we know that you have to combine that with your partner, but it is okay. That's the beauty of life, that someone is not just like you. I mean, if you want somebody to obey you, you need a dog. You need, you need a little puppy. You need somebody where you can tell them to sit, to come to you, all of those things. Then you need that. You don't need a partner. You still have to respect that your partner is a human being and they have goals and dreams and aspirations as well. And to me, the Scott brothers really don't like that. They want a woman who's just going to lay on her back, give them all the sex they want, and listen to whatever they say and let them run the show. And that is the problem. Tisha said she is in a new era. She said, Tisha said it's like a new era for her and MARSAU. And she says her goal is to be a better version of herself. And I do believe that. I think that we have seen the growing pains of LATISHA doing that. But LATISHA is tired of MARSAU. MARSAU said he's tired of her too. And I think that they are not who they were when they first got married. They are not who they were when they first met. Things have changed. I think MARSAU is seeing LATISHA branch out and getting away from listening to him so much. And I think MARSAU has hurt LATISHA so bad that she doesn't want to listen to him anymore. And that's what it was. So MARSAU said that he's questioning their partnership together. So Maurice was kind of not confused, but he was a little concerned. He was like, what do you mean? Are you talking about your marriage? Well, we know how they are. Yeah, that's what MARSAU was actually saying. He said, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just wondering, he said, if we can still move forward together. I want to know if I can move forward with her. Well, you're questioning whether you want to be with her. You just said in the scene before that give me back my last name. So obviously there is some questions and some doubts about whether you want to move forward in your marriage. You didn't say in business, you said move forward with her. If it was just about business, you could have said, well, I don't know, I think me and LATISHA just need to go our separate ways professionally. I think she needs to hire her own contractors and she needs to do her own thing. You said, I am questioning whether I want to move forward with her, i.e. I don't know if I want to be married to LATISHA Moore / Scott anymore. And that was the end of the show. There's definitely trouble in paradise, but we knew this this has been a long time in the making. We know what has been said. We've heard all the rumors about MARSAU and the cheating. Nothing has been proven yet, but you know, we all have our ideas and of what, in our opinions of what has happened. Like I said, I do believe that they are two different people anymore, and unfortunately sometimes that happens, and maybe, you know, maybe they won't make it. You know, I'm certainly not a person that is just going to say that I want to see a couple or a family split and break up. I'm definitely not saying that, but there's trouble on the horizon. And if they don't come together and get on the same page, they will be headed for a divorce. Unfortunately, that's just where they're going. They will be another Melody and Martell. So that's it, guys. Like I said, please let me know your thoughts. What did you think about this episode? Like I said, I think it's been a pretty good season thus far. I would say this half of the season has been really, really, really good. I don't know about you. How do you feel about the season? Let me know what you thought about the episode. Are you in agreement with MARSAU, or are you in agreement with LATISHA? Tell me how you feel about their conversations, because they had some really, really, really tough conversations. A lot was said. There was a lot of meat in their conversations. Let me know what you think about that, and let me know how you feel about just this season and their whole episode. How do you feel even about the conversations, you know, Destiny? How do you feel about them sort of trying to portray Destiny as this very loose, provocative woman? Let me know how you feel about that too as well. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone who doesn't have access to see Love and Marriage Huntsville, or they're too busy, whether they're an adult learner, or they just have kids and they have so much going on, please feel free to share my video with them. I would greatly appreciate that. And I would love to hear from you guys. I say that every week. If I know so many people, they don't have time to do that. They just listen to the video while they're driving, or, you know, while they're sort of busy and doing other things, cooking, whatever, because I do the same thing. And sometimes you don't have time to comment, but again, sometimes I do try to just leave a comment on some of my my favorite content creators pages, just to let them know, hey, I hear you, I'm thinking about you, and I see you. If you don't, I still appreciate the view. But if you want to, or you just want to drop by and say hello, hey, I'm going to say hey right back. So again, guys, happy Sunday to you again. Have a great day, the rest of your day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.